A game titled Silent Hill: The Short Message has been rated in Taiwan, specifying PS5 as a platform. Curious events started in September 2022. The supposed new entry in the Silent Hill franchise was rated in Korea, without specifics about which platform it would be available on. The Korean rating attributed the publisher as Unannounced, a firm that frequently publishes Konami games in Korea and also produces amusement arcade machines. At the time, the rating seemed to be connected to some leaked images from earlier in the year that sparked Silent Hill rumors. Konami has since announced several Silent Hill projects, none of which bear the title The Short Message. The lack of the short message seemed as though Konami had perhaps changed the name to one of these titles. However, the Taiwan Digital Game Rating Committee has now rated Silent Hill: The Short Message for PS5, even though the listing has now been taken down. The publisher is noted as being Konami, and it is listed as containing violence, terror, and inappropriate speech. This information answers some questions, but raises a few others. Any speculation of Unannounced releasing an arcade game with the Silent Hill branding can now be dismissed. Further details pertaining to this mysterious game, such as why it was not announced with the other Silent Hill projects, remain unclear. The secretive nature of the short message, however, feels fitting for the deep lore of the Silent Hill universe. It is an exciting time for fans of the psychological horror title, as the Silent Hill IP has been dormant for 10 years. Not counting Hideo Kojima's PT, the playable teaser had been similarly somewhat secretive, and PT still inspires new games today. While previous titles since Silent Hill 4 had somewhat mixed receptions compared to the classic Silent Hill games, the lasting effect of PT shows that there is still great interest in Silent Hill. Perhaps Konami also learned that the element of mystery is a key factor in the franchise and decided to withhold some projects, such as Silent Hill: The Short Message, from the public as long as possible. With so many Silent Hill-inspired titles, such as the creepy-looking Post-Trauma announced at the Game Awards and countless others, it seems clear that the franchise still holds a lot of weight. There could be several more Silent Hill games in development that have yet to be revealed by Konami, according to one prominent leaker. The Silent Hill franchise is coming back in a big way. Konami made clear with the announcement of Bloober Team's Silent Hill 2 Remake and several other titles that it's back making games in a major way, but if one leaker is to be believed, Silent Hill fans haven't even seen the full scope of Konami's plans for the horror franchise. In October, Konami hosted what it called the Silent Hill Transmission. Konami used the video to announce not one, but 4 different Silent Hill projects, and a movie, too. Silent Hill Ascension is an interactive media experience. Silent Hill 2 is a remake of the classic survival horror game. Silent Hill Townfall is a mysterious project from Stories Untold developer No Code, and Silent Hill F is an all-new main series Silent Hill project set in Japan. It was a wave of announcements, more than any Silent Hill fan expected. According to prominent leaker Dusk Golem, the 4 official Silent Hill announcements aren't all that Konami has planned for the horror franchise. In a post on Reset Era, Dusk Golem shared that there are at least 3 Silent Hill projects currently in development that have yet to be announced. The post was made in a thread about the recently revealed Silent Hill: The Short Message game, which is yet another unannounced Silent Hill project. Dusk Golem's 3 Silent Hill project do not include the short message, it should be clarified. The 4 confirmed Silent Hill games, 1 leaked project in Silent Hill: The Short Message, and 3 as yet unannounced Silent Hill games makes 8 Silent Hill projects in various states of development right now. Dusk Golem has a long history of leaks surrounding various gaming franchises, Resident Evil being their most prominent. It looks like Konami is going full steam ahead on Silent Hill, paying compensation for their long absence in AAA gaming. Silent Hill fans will certainly be pleased, regardless. Speaking of Konami, Metal Gear Solid fans also may have a lot to look forward to in 2023, as Konami's producer for the franchise is hinting at various plans to be revealed in the next year. Konami's dedication to Metal Gear Solid, and all of its franchises for that matter, has been in question for several years. Yet the recent announcement of several Silent Hill projects made clear a reinvigorated Konami was back in form. A Metal Gear Solid announcement seemed like an inevitable next step. Metal Gear Solid has a lot of unfortunate baggage. It's not just that the man behind Metal Gear, Hideo Kojima, left Konami in a highly controversial manner. That's obviously the biggest issue, though, of course. It's also that the Metal Gear Solid franchise ended on somewhat of a bad taste. Metal Gear Solid 5 is beloved by many, but it was also criticized for its lack of a conclusion and repetitive format. Fans of the Metal Gear Solid franchise are left questioning not just when Konami will bring the series back but whether it'll be the kind of experience that fans fell in love with. Those answers may be coming soon, at least. In an interview with Famitsu, longtime Metal Gear Solid producer Noriaki Okamura teased major plans for 2023. Okamura says that not only will 2023 be a year with many announcements, but that fans can look forward to a specific, long-awaited reveal, too. Okamura is ambiguous with his description and doesn't explicitly state it'll be related to Metal Gear Solid, unfortunately. He could be referring to Castlevania, Contra, or even Dance Dance Revolution. It's Okamura's history with Konami that has led some to conclude he's talking about Metal Gear Solid returning. Okamura isn't solely the producer of Metal Gear Solid, though, so he could be referring to any of Konami's popular franchises. What makes Okamura's tease particularly exciting to Metal Gear Solid fans, however, is that his comments follow reporting on a related major rumor. That rumor is that Konami has licensed out a Metal Gear Solid remake to Singapore studio Virtuos, not unlike how it licensed Silent Hill 2 to Bloober Team. It's said to be a PS5 exclusive with an announcement tentatively planned for 2023. Where the truth lies between these rumors and reports is unclear, but it's very true that Konami's Silent Hill announcements were similarly preceded by now-confirmed rumors and leaks. Metal Gear Solid fans should maintain an amount of skepticism, but 2023 may be the year we've been waiting for. Kojima left Konami 7 years ago. It might be time for Konami to give Metal Gear Solid another chance. According to a new report, the upcoming Resident Evil 4 remake will be keeping a section from the original game that proved to be fairly divisive at the time of its release. The Resident Evil 4 remake is following in the footsteps of previous Resident Evil remakes, retaining the general framework of the original game while also making significant enough changes that it could feel like a whole new experience. From what's been shown so far, the Resident Evil 4 remake has a darker tone than the original game, with an increased focus on its horror elements over the corny one-liners. The game also appears to be making some dark changes to the story. In the original Resident Evil 4, players have the option to save a dog from a bear trap, but in the Resident Evil 4 remake, the dog is already dead when Leon arrives. But while the Resident Evil 4 remake is definitely making some big changes to the game, it should still be familiar to fans of the original. The latest issue of Edge magazine has reportedly interviewed the Resident Evil 4 remake developers, confirming that the original's core areas are all represented in the remake. This means that fans can expect to visit the village, as has been seen in Resident Evil 4 remake gameplay trailers, the castle, and ultimately, the controversial island. The original Resident Evil 4 is one of the most influential video games of all time. Resident Evil 4's over-the-shoulder camera and exciting action inspired game development for years to come, but even so, it's not perfect. Many fans have complained about the Resident Evil 4 Island section over the years, feeling it to be a step down from the quality of gameplay found in the game's beginning and middle areas. The island returning in the Resident Evil 4 remake is not surprising, though some fans may be disappointed to get confirmation that it is indeed making a comeback. On the bright side, it seems that Capcom is aware of how some fans weren't impressed by the island and could be addressing some of that feedback. There will apparently be a lot more to the island in the Resident Evil 4 remake, so it will be interesting to see exactly what that means. It's possible Capcom will show off the Resident Evil 4 remake's take on the island section in pre-launch footage, but otherwise fans may have to wait for the game to launch. Luckily, the Resident Evil 4 remake release date is right around the corner, so we will soon be able to check it out for ourselves. A leaker that previously revealed Atlus is working on a remake of Persona 3 reconfirms the game's development. What's next for the Persona franchise has been a mystery since the release of Persona 5 Royal in 2019, as Atlus has lingered on the RPG, bringing it to PC, PS5, Switch, and Xbox consoles in 2022. With that behind it, Atlus seems primed to move on to the next major Persona release. Yet it might not be only Persona 6 at all, and another opportunity for Persona 3. The release of Persona 3 started what many could say is the origin of the Persona franchise's current momentum. While the original Persona 3 release on PlayStation 2 performed poorly next to the first and second Persona games, its remakes, Persona 3 FES and Persona 3 Portable, both elevated the release significantly. Those releases helped build a larger Western audience, which has led to franchise growth for Persona 4, Persona 5, and many additional spin-off releases. Atlus confirmed early New Year's Day morning that it has significant plans for 2023. These plans will start with the previously announced ports of Persona 3 Portable and Persona 4 Golden, remastered for modern platforms. However, Atlus also confirmed that several unreleased new titles are being prepared, though no specific names or clues were provided. This has since prompted a larger conversation within the Persona fandom. On Reset Era, fans have been speculating what Persona announcements could be forthcoming from Atlus in 2023. One user brought up a long-standing rumor regarding a Persona 3 remake, questioning if it was still happening with Atlus now re-releasing Persona 3 Portable. This prompted a response from insider Lolilolelo, who previously leaked the news of Persona coming to Xbox Game Pass in 2022. According to Lolilolelo, the Persona 3 remake is real, still. A follow-up comment asking why Atlus would re-release Persona 3 Portable if a remake was in development also received an answer. Lolilolelo explained, quite simply, it's Atlus. More specifically, they say an updated Persona 3 Portable release will bring the whole Persona saga to new consoles. Atlus can capitalize on the original game, and then on the remake with its Persona 5-like graphics and quality-of-life improvements later. To be clear, Lolilolelo never says that the Persona 3 remake is one of Atlus' planned announcements for 2023. It's entirely possible the remake, if it does exist, will launch much later. That would give the Persona 3 Portable relaunch plenty of time to breathe. Without an official confirmation from Atlus, though, Persona fans will just have to wait and see what Atlus has planned next for the increasingly popular universe. F-Zero, one of those franchises that Nintendo seems to have forgotten about, is rumored to be making a comeback 2023. This marks 2 decades since the last mainline title in the series, F-Zero GX, released on the GameCube in 2003. For many, it has felt like the once popular futuristic racer has been relegated to a backstory for Captain Falcon, who has been a staple character in Super Smash Bros. Since its inception. Those fans think the return of F-Zero is long overdue, and an interesting rumor suggests that it may finally happen. Fans of F-Zero have long lamented the dormancy of the franchise, which was celebrated as one of the fastest and most realistic racers of its time when it first released on the Super Nintendo in 1990. Among these F-Zero faithful is apparently one of Nintendo's shareholders, who apparently attended a meeting and supposedly expressed his enthusiasm for the revival of the series. Nate the Hate, a podcaster who has reportedly been the source of accurate leaks in the past, confidently posited that 2023 would be the year for F-Zero. This came as a reply to yet another Metroid-related rumor thread discussing a comment from the user who is credited with teasing The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Nate went on to say that Metroid Prime was finished up by Retro Studios in 2021, but still had to go through quality assurance and localization at that point. Seeing Captain Falcon behind the wheel of his famous blue car in a new game would bring untold joy to the masses of fans that remember F-Zero as one of the best early 3D racers. Players can still access the original game and its sequel, F-Zero X, on Nintendo Switch via the SNES and N64 emulation software available as part of Nintendo Switch Online, but the GameCube's F-Zero GX is unavailable at this time. It would likely be one of the first titles that Nintendo would want to make available to players if or when it decides to revive the series. In a May 2022 VentureBeat interview, former Nintendo of America president Reggie Fils-Aime said that he believed Nintendo might bring F-Zero back and added that he believed there was someone in the company's Kyoto headquarters working on an F-Zero idea. The discussion around GameCube titles for the Switch has always been less around if it will happen and more about when. Nevertheless, Nintendo is extremely protective of its IP and takes leaks quite seriously, even if they are about a Zelda game that never made it past the initial pitch. A new teaser trailer on Overkill Software's YouTube channel has revealed Payday 3's logo, serving as one of the first major game announcements of the new year. Along with the logo reveal, Payday 3's Steam store page has been opened for gamers to wishlist ahead of the 2023 release, and more details about the game can be expected soon. While the trilogy began with Payday the heist earning mixed reception back in 2011, Payday 2 exploded in popularity and has been a staple of the co-op shooter genre ever since. The Payday series puts players behind the masks of heist crew members Dallas, Hoxton, Houston, Chains, and Wolf as they embark on a life of violent crime and armed robbery. Players must work together to plan and execute various heists in different locations, ranging from simple bank heists to robbing Vegas casinos. And Payday 2's steady stream of DLC has kept the game going strong for over a decade. With the announcement of Payday 3 in 2016, fans have been waiting for quite a while for news on the threequel. A brief reveal trailer entitled A New Criminal Dawn, uploaded by Overkill Software, shows off Payday 3's logo, a simple and clean monochrome design that forgoes the red or blue coloration from the previous entries. The video zooms out of a view of Payday 3's New York City to reveal the crew overlooking the Brooklyn Bridge, likely plotting their next big job. The trailer declares that this is the year of Payday 3, once again confirming the game's 2023 release window. A specific release date hasn't been announced yet, but the Steam store page has been brought online, allowing players to wishlist the game and keep up with future updates. Only a few details about Payday 3 have been revealed so far, such as the game's setting in a technologically modern New York. Payday 3's modern focus will open the door for all sorts of technologies and concepts like cryptocurrency and mass surveillance that could have a profound impact on criminal gameplay. Hopefully, a new set of tools will mix up the gameplay further thanks to hacking devices and other useful gadgets that will give players interesting options during their heists. Payday 3 will also be switching to the Unreal Engine instead of using the Grin engine from previous games in order to bring the scale and details of New York to life. Although little in terms of gameplay has been revealed so far, Payday 3 is one of the most anticipated games of 2023. Meta has recently filed a patent allowing for variability in field of view and resolution for VR headsets, suggesting that they could be featured in their upcoming headsets. Paired with another recent patent for a pair of gaming gloves, this latest information could mean the company's placing extra emphasis on expanding virtual reality's potential for immersion. Although it remains a niche today, virtual reality has made leaps and bounds in popularity compared to its origins in the 1990s. What was once seen as not applicable in gaming became viable when startup Oculus released its Rift headset in 2016, 2 years after being acquired by Meta. Since then, while the Oculus Quest 2 has been successful in the consumer space, $2.8 billion has been lost in VR development. Patents such as variable field of view and resolution could be insights into where this high development cost has gone. It describes memory storing instructions and a processor that gets sent to a device, which is specified to be a VR headset, and it performs a method that adjusts between an immersive mode and a focused mode provided to the unit. What these modes could mean is up to speculation, but one could emphasize a high field of view and resolution that provides a higher fidelity world for users to immerse themselves in, with the other lowering one or both to improve performance. If that were true, then this development could be compared to the options between graphics and performance modes many recent games have implemented. Another insight this patent potentially provides is another look into the headsets Meta announced in October. While quarterly meetings report the headsets were featured in doesn't mention any specific products, the budget increases for Reality Labs could mean a successor to the Oculus Quest 2 would be a significant step forward from the popular headset. Since this is a patent, the development of this feature could still be early, with its implementation being saved for hardware that will release after 2023. Meta is also rumored to be returning to an IPD slider with the Meta Quest 3, allowing players to customize the device for a more comfortable fit. Now, Meta may be looking to implement multiple lenses into its new headsets to increase the device's field of view. A patent filed by Meta for freeform light field displays looks to bring multiple lenses into new iterations of the Meta Quest headset. The patent lists freeform, liquid crystal, Fresnel, and pancake lenslets within the headset for the purpose of increasing the user's peripheral vision with the device. The patent would feature additional lenses with a flexible display on the sides of each of the device's main displays, using the side lenses to enhance the player's field of view. New lenses have been a major focal point of early leaks for the Meta Quest 3. The newest iteration of the Meta Quest comes as the developer has seen increased competition from many of gaming's biggest developers in the VR space. Sony is gearing up for the launch of its newest VR platform on the PS5, the PSVR 2, set to release early next year. Steam VR has posed significant competition for the Meta Quest, with the online marketplace supporting a wide variety of virtual reality headsets alongside Meta's own hardware. HTC is also reportedly working to develop its own new VR headset to directly compete with Meta's. Developments such as the patent could prove exciting for VR enthusiasts, but Meta has been facing several notable issues as a result of its developments in that space. With the financial losses, VR executive consultant John Carmack resigned from Meta after citing inefficiencies in the company and concerns for the metaverse. Whether the company can rise above the struggles it currently faces or rises above them remains to be seen, but the fact is VR technology is accelerating rapidly and Meta remains committed to its advancement. If it can pull through, then the immersion factor in future VR spaces will be comparable to high-end devices outside of gaming. Warner Bros. Entertainment has published a patent it submitted internationally, and this patent is for a social robot design that could improve video game interactions with human players. However, the patent design could also apply to much more than entertainment. For years now, programmers have designed increasingly sophisticated AI systems that can respond to human input. Digital assistants like Siri and Alexa can respond to voice commands in a variety of languages and accents, and chat AIs can simulate a real conversation in text chat, at least to some extent. The goal of this new Warner Bros. Patent seems to be to take these social robots to the next step. According to the patent, social robot with environmental control feature, the robot that Warner Bros. Is developing would be able to use a camera to analyze a person's nonverbal social cues to detect things like emotional states and desires. The robot could then connect to a smart display to play a video clip, connect to smart appliances to brew coffee or change a room's lighting, or tell a game's AI to respond appropriately. For instance, if the social robot senses that its user is tired, it could start the coffee maker or suggest that the user go to bed if it's late. If the user is sad, it could dim the lights and play a video clip of rain sounds. Or if a game player gets annoyed at a character but doesn't say anything, the social robot could detect this and have the annoying character back off or calm down. A social robot that can read non-verbal social cues seems to be a natural progression from what AI can already do. Direct communication through text and speech is growing more sophisticated by the day, and so the next logical step is to develop robots that can understand expressions, tones, gestures, and other ways humans share information without using words. In fact, the patent mentions it could also work for other social animals, which means Warner Bros. May license its design for animal studies and zoos. On the other hand, this patent also provides fuel for people who worry that technology is getting too intrusive. The goal of this design is a social robot that can learn enough about its user to do what they want even before they ask for it, and there's no guarantee that this robot would be the only one getting this information. Still, it will likely be years before social robots like this will reach consumer apps, games, or homes. A recent patent filed by Sony has the iconic developer looking at enabling PlayStation Cloud gaming across a variety of streaming devices. The rise of cloud gaming has seen plenty of gaming's biggest developers turning to game streaming to bring their new games to more consoles than ever. Cloud versions of games have allowed platforms like the Nintendo Switch to stream games like Resident Evil 7 that the hardware may not be able to support, while others like Xbox have made Game Pass available through Samsung TVs. Now, Sony is looking to get in on the streaming trend. Sony's newest foray into streaming would not be the first time the PlayStation developer has attempted to move into the game streaming market. Sony's former PlayStation Now streaming service allowed subscribers to stream a variety of older games through their PlayStation consoles. Sony's streaming capability was carried over with the overhaul of PlayStation Plus earlier this year, with premium subscribers able to stream both modern and classic games through the service. Sony's newest patent would see the company looking to branch PlayStation streaming out to other devices. The Sony patent covers a pass-through device for cloud gaming, with Sony looking to develop a streaming attachment for several devices. The patent specifically lists popular streaming sticks like the Google Chromecast, Roku, and Amazon Fire TV stick, suggesting Sony is developing its own streaming stick. The device would allow players to stream their games directly to a TV without the need to connect a PlayStation device, specifically referring to PlayStation Now in images for the patent. Return of PlayStation Now as a cloud gaming platform would come after Sony had previously discontinued the service earlier this year. Sony had sunsetted the PlayStation streaming service with the launch of the overhauled PlayStation Plus, with PS Plus Premium including game streaming. PS Now had previously been one of the first game streaming services following its launch in 2012. The platform's lineup of classic titles from the PS1, PS2, and PS3 were viewed as compensating for later PS3 models and all PS4 consoles lacking backwards compatibility. Sony's newest streaming initiative joins many of its biggest competitors moving towards cloud gaming as a way to bring major games to more players. Along with the previously mentioned integration of Game Pass into Samsung TVs, Amazon's Luna service allows subscribers to stream games through the online marketplace's proprietary platform. Many developers have also released cloud versions of their games, like the Kingdom Hearts franchise coming to Switch through streaming. A Sony streaming stick would allow even more players to access some of the best games in the PlayStation library. In the European Union, Apple Inc. will be allowing third-party companies to build their own app stores and run them on iOS devices. This has been a long sought-after goal for many third-party businesses, who have waged an ongoing battle with the tech giant to open its platform. The potential long-term ramifications of these changes could have a significant global effect on Apple. Apple, being the technology powerhouse it is, has become hugely ingrained in the Western world, from its collection of devices, to its TV offerings, to its underrated Apple Arcade service. One of the things that's made it so appealing to many, is the company's focus on user privacy and security. A huge part of the company's marketing and features are geared toward that end, and it's on these grounds that it has heretofore resisted pressures to open up its operating systems to third-party software, at least, if it didn't go through Apple first. A less altruistic perspective would note that the company takes a substantial cut from the businesses forced to go through its App Store, from 15% to 30%. Despite Apple's best efforts to avoid it, new laws in the EU will require the company to allow its customers to download and install third-party software outside its own store, including wholly different app stores. The law, called the Digital Markets Act, is designed to create a more fair landscape for smaller developers, while providing a better experience for customers. This would also loosen the company's strict policies regarding the content it allows on its devices. For example, earlier this year, Apple threatened to remove apps and games that had not updated recently, upsetting users and developers alike. It's this type of treatment that has pushed developers to seek some freedom under initiatives like the Digital Markets Act. The act will take effect in the next few months, though compliance with the law will not be enforced until 2024. Other stipulations under the law include a requirement that Apple allow third-party payment systems, and that it opens its iMessage and Messages app to developers as well. Earlier this year, an Apple update allowed users to edit and unsend texts, but the long years it took for such a feature to appear only underlines the tight hold the company has on its software. News of the upcoming changes has already stirred up a response among app shareholders. Companies such as Bumble Inc. and Spotify Technology SA saw stocks raise by nearly 10%, as investors clearly see the development as a good sign. Interestingly, Apple stocks have thus far seen almost no change. Shift coming in the EU, and all the necessary work on Apple's end, mean that the stage is set for changes to come to the West as well. For gamers, this could mean access to previously impossible experiences, and certainly more games. The Apple Arcade service is solid, and developments like the classic Nintendo controllers seeing support on Apple devices show that the company do care about video game fans, but they've always felt like second fiddle to its other audiences. Perhaps with the changes, Apple fans will finally get a more substantial gaming experience. But, if Apple is to be believed, these changes may indeed come with a degree of compromised security. It will ultimately be up to the company to bolster its defenses, and the individual users to make the final choice about what to invite onto their devices. And that's all for the video, guys. Like and share the video for a greater audience. Comment your thoughts on the topics, and donations are always appreciated. Subscribe to the channel and click the bell icon, and until then, from SMPV, it's goodbye.